everybody. Today we are joined by a man whose passion and purpose for inspiring the next generation to thrive. From his global experience as a ski instructor to building life-changing programs with infectious energy, the co-founder of Juiced Up Groms, a groundbreaking program teaching kids the power of healthy living, resilience, and connection. This man is on a mission to empower young legends and their families to live their best lives. Chris Windsor, welcome to the show!
Oh, wow, what an introduction. Thanks so much for having me. That was epic.
No worries, good. Oh, wow, it's all true, isn't it? It's all true. So,
Absolutely. That's
yeah,
so
so
good to hear.
Chris, we're going to dive straight in, I think, with Chris, aren't we?
Well, I think for the listeners that don't know you, Chris, would you be able to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Absolutely. I'm 37 years old, living on the Sunshine Coast. I'm absolutely 100% passionate about living a healthy, happy life. I've had my own health issues in the past, which really drove me in this direction. And that inspired me to then want to share a message around living a healthy life because once I realized how good you can actually feel and the energy you have and the vitality that you can share with the world and all the interactions that happen from that point, it's absolutely incredible. And I thought it'd be rude not to share it. And yeah, now that I get to do this on a daily basis, my life is just amazing from start to finish. So basically, in a nutshell, I've had an amazing life with good family, good friends, good upbringing, love sport, love the outdoors, lots of camping, fishing, really active sort of person as a child. Uh, Coming into my late teens, into my early 20s, I did get a bit sidetracked and went down the party route for a long time, which sort of led me a little bit of a stray down the garden path. And yeah, that sort of led me to a bit of a dead end where it left me thinking about what I really wanted to do with my life. And after, sitting down and pondering the things that really lit me up and gave me joy, that's when I started to actually make decisions towards things that I love and really light me up and give me fulfillment. So yeah, fast forward to now, 37, yeah, basically living my dream life with the programs that Cam and I have created over the past 6 years and feeling super proud and fulfilled about where we're at and where we're going.
That's amazing. What a story. I love it already.
Yeah.
It's so good. Um, let's ask how do you personally, you mentioned about success there quite a lot actually. So how do you personally define success? And can you share a moment when that definition was tested?
Yeah, absolutely. I think personally for me, success is, I think, being truly happy with who you are as a human, knowing that maybe you are sharing a gift with the world, you're helping others, but feeling truly fulfilled. And I think happiness is a huge, huge key to success. If you are happy every single day and you get to share that with the world, I believe that is true happiness, true success. And I feel like I found that once I started stepping into my own purpose. Before that, I was working a good job that's, good money and high pay and, a good roster and all those things, which in some people's eyes is success, but it was leaving me really unfulfilled and drained and not very passionate about life. And I had really no direction with why I was there, what I was doing. And then when I found purpose and started focusing on my health and doing all the inner work, that led me to true happiness. And to me, that feels like success.
You just mentioned about purpose, and I mean, I'm writing a book on success, and one of the keys of success is happiness in my book as well. So I'm completely on the same page as you. But you mentioned about stepping into your purpose. How do you find your purpose?
Trial and error. I think that's one thing people think, oh, you got to find that one thing. And if you don't find it, you're never going to find it. It's about trying so many different things and being consciously aware of the things that light you up. Like right now, I'm getting goosebumps and a feeling like through my entire body that I'm excited to share this because those are the little signs. I call them soul bumps, or it might be like a little bit of nervous excitement. But those are the signs where your body or your heart is talking to you about maybe this is a direction you should go. It may not be your purpose, but it could be a step closer. So being okay with trying things, as many things as it takes to really find what lights you up and what gives you that spark to want to keep doing it day in, day out. I think that's the quickest way to find success. You got to try and fail might be 2 times, it might be 1,000, but if you're not trying, then you'll never discover. So be
Yeah,
okay with discovery.
it's funny how like when you try all these things, often they're all like different tools that get you to your full purpose anyway. Like, there's so many different things through my life that I've thought like, oh, this has nothing to do with what I really want to do. I just need a job. But then when I'm doing the actual thing that I want to do, like that actually came in handy, like that previous experience. Like, thank God I did that shit job of like driving a truck or something, because now I drive a truck to festivals. Like, it's mad. Like, there's nothing that is really, as long as you're there and you're focused and you're in the experience, like it all has a purpose. It all is leading to that thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I actually did a story about this maybe a year ago about saying, is it a useless talent or is it a hidden purpose? Like at school, I was always like a class clown, like a real character, always doing different impersonations and voices and accents and just taking the piss basically most of the time. And to everyone else around, I was just a distraction and it was a waste of time to teachers. But then fast forward like, yeah, 15 years and I started doing live shows with Juiced Up Groms. All these acting skills that I was just doing unknowingly at school came into play where I started becoming all these different characters like cavemen and lifesavers and squirrels and lions and tigers, like all these acting things that just came like so in handy and were like a really valuable, skill and talent. I was like, that's hilarious because back then, oh, the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh, that was just a useless
Yeah.
waste of time doing that at school. But then all
Yeah,
of
and
a
you got
sudden it
in
became,
trouble for it, and now you can just do it, and that's your job.
yeah, exactly. I can be the juiced up granny and get away with so much because it's this old lady who's just there to cause havoc. So yeah, it was really fun.
I
I
love
thought
that,
that
the juiced up granny. I love that. I want to see more of the juiced up granny. I'm coming over to Australia just to see that. I think that's going to be amazing. If you're talking a lot about childhood there, and if you were creating a recipe for success and the ingredients were added during childhood, what
Mhm.
specific qualities, habits, or experience would you include?
I think it's really important for kids at a young age to be challenged and be okay to try and fail things multiple times. That's why we like in our program, we love to encourage kids that just practice makes better. Like everything we do is just about practicing and getting better and being okay with, not succeeding right there and then, but enjoying that process. I think if kids can be okay with just practicing and getting better, that builds resilience. And then as they see the progress, that builds confidence. And if you're resilient and confident, then you're going to step into challenges and things that are harder in the future so much easier if that's sort of instilled from a young age. So I really encourage parents to let kids figure things out on their own and just gently encourage them to always step into those things that might be slightly challenging. Because if you can build a resilient child, I think you're going to build a really successful child because we don't get taught that. And when you step out into the real world, it's all about just hanging on for the ride and being resilient like as much as possible. So I think that's a
That's
great
so
trait for
true.
Yeah,
kids and
it's
parents.
such an alternative outlook to school, because like if you do something in school and you fail, then it's wrong. And
Yeah.
like that's like how the whole kid's mind is like, I can't do things wrong, I shouldn't do things wrong. And it's like then when you get into the outside world, especially if you're an entrepreneur, all it is failure, 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 and you just keep failing forward. Like, you never get it right. But all those failures, they build up and you get like more and more successful through those failures. And it's like, yeah, that you guys get to instill that in the kids at a young age is huge. It's huge.
Yeah, you got to fail your way to success. And the more you fail, the faster you're going to be successful because every time you fail, you learn. So I
Yeah,
think,
Yeah.
yeah, as,
100%.
One
as
well,
yeah, and like you said at school, like it's such
carry
a
on.
societal construct at school is like you get taught how to do something, it's either right or wrong. You don't get taught how to like, try all these different ways and experiment how you can come up with your own answer. It's like yes or no, move on, and this is how you do it. I think it's important to encourage kids to think outside the box and really, instill that like free thinker sort of empowerment to create your own your own answers or your own life. Sorry
Yeah,
about that. Just
one
lost.
of our major things that we talk about all the time, isn't it, is failing forward.
Yeah.
It's a key phrase in our household. You fail forward, you know. And one of the things I do with my daughter at bedtime each night is ask her what things she failed at. And I'm going to do that for the rest of her life, and she's going to hate me for it. But she'll understand when she's older why I'm asking her. You know, I always say, "What did you do well? What new thing did you try? And what do you fail? What did you fail at today?" And she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't know." She's only 5, but I think it's so important failing, you know, to learn. That's exactly it, and that's what we do as adults as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
You
think
may
it's
have
really,
touched on it when you were introducing yourself a bit, but was there a specific experience that lit the fire for you to start Juiced Up Grums, and how did that shape your vision?
yeah, there was actually a really pivotal moment in my life when I was 29. I actually was working in construction at the time. I was working in construction. I was working starting at like 3:30 in the morning every day, getting home at like 6:37 at night, like huge hours, physical labor. And, I wasn't really enjoying it. But during that time, I wasn't eating good food. I was just doing all these things that were not great for my body, my soul, anything. The only reason I was doing it was to make money. And that went on for about 6 months. And through that time, I was having a buildup of like pain and stress in my spine. And this is like a perfect example of your body speaking to you, right? For about 3 months leading up to like the straw getting broken, the camel's back, it was like sore back, got worse, got worse, got worse. Like saying, dude, slow down, stop doing whatever you're doing. My body had enough. And then all of a sudden, one day I got to work and I started losing vision in my eyes. I was like, had terrible
Oh,
back pain. I went completely blind that day and had to get like taken home and straight to the doctor to find out what was going on. And within 3 days of that day leaving sight, my entire body was riddled with inflammation from head to toe. I couldn't walk. I couldn't like talk. My whole mouth was full of ulcers. I lost vision for 3 days. And yeah, I was left sitting, in bed after speaking to the doctors, getting diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, saying that you're going to have this for the rest of your life. And this is how it works. I was just like huge, big shock to the system. And I was, yeah, basically
oh my
inflamed
gosh,
from
that
head
must
to
have been
toe.
terrifying.
Yeah, it was wild. Like I was 29 and I thought I was fit and healthy, but I wasn't looking after myself at all in so many different ways. And that manifested inside my body. And my body the whole time was screaming at me to change and pivot because that job I was doing was not aligned to me one bit. And I always talk about to people like your body's speaking to you and you'll get the feather, the brick, and the bus. At first, it'll give you a sign with a feather. It might be a little, it might be a slight bit of pain in your lower back, saying, "Hey, man, there's something going on here. You need to slow down or assess what you're doing." If the feather doesn't get you, you'll get the brick, which is a bit more of a heavy hit. You might, sustain an injury at work and be off work for a whole week, so you got time to think about it. And if you still don't wake up to these signs that you're getting, then you get the bus, which is what I got, and my
Oh,
body just all of a sudden like basically gave up. And yeah, I was bedridden for 3 months from that point. So I had plenty of time to think about my life, yeah, everything I've been doing leading up to that point and everything I was going to do moving forward. So I quit my job, ended a relationship that I was in at the time, reassessed my entire life, started eating healthy, started training, and after 3 months, finally got my medication that I needed to subside all the inflammation. And that sort of gave me relief from the pain and from, all the stress that was happening in my body. So then I was able to start, properly training again and moving. And then I took a real holistic approach to actually improving because prior
yeah.
to prior to me actually going through that, I saw a friend who had a similar experience, but he got addicted to pain medication and he went down the wrong path of medication and ended up in a mental health institution and suicidal and all these terrible things. So he sort of gave me an insight of maybe what not to do. So I was like going to do everything I could to avoid medication. So I went really holistic. And I think
Yeah.
after 6 months, I stopped taking the medication that they'd told me to. and started doing lots of breath work, ice baths, really good movement, stretching, hot and cold therapy, eating incredibly good food, and really just prioritizing anything to do with reducing inflammation in my body. And after about 6 to 12 months of doing that, all inflammation in my body was like back to zero. And I hadn't taken medication for nearly 12 months. And the doctor's like, "Oh, this is incredible. What have you been doing?" Rah, rah, rah. And yeah, they were just super impressed that everything I was doing was just all natural. I think the acceptable amount of inflammation for someone who has what I have is 12 of, I think, of 25 or something. That's acceptable. If you're at 12, that's okay. Mine was at 0.02 and has been for the last
Oh, wow.
So good.
yeah, and has been for like the last nearly 3 years because
So you basically
because of
don't
my
have
habits. Yeah, it's basically I think I've had like one flare up in the last like 6, 7 years, and I've had to take the medication. So
That's incredible.
Yeah, what a
and
story.
that's all to diet and lifestyle is basically what I base my entire my values around now, because I believe that that's so empowering for a person to take control of their health, and that
Yeah.
actually led me to wanting to share that with other people, and then obviously leading towards Juiced Up Groms.
What a great thing for people to listen to, that maybe they're in that situation where they've got that bus or even the brick. And it's like, like you have the choice to either go down the path of like a victim, or you use that as a catalyst to like say like, okay, I need a drastic change here. And now look where it's led. It's led you to your purpose. Like
Yeah.
it could have led you to like victimhood, and you could be in such a worse place. And many people do that. But then, people listening to this, they have that choice. They can empower themselves, and they can take that responsibility themselves and not blame everybody else and their situation and all that kind of stuff, and just say, hey, this is my journey. I'm going to take this power and really change my life and do the steps and see where it leads. Like it's amazing that you have that story to share for our listeners.
I bet that's really powerful for all the young people that you work with as well. Do they know
Yeah.
your story, or do they?
I think certain people might know my story, but yeah, I keep it, I sort of keep it to podcasts and things where I can share it fully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people can just see my passion for health, and they watch what I do every single day. Like, and I'm very disciplined and regimented with how I eat and train and how I move, because I actually consider myself lucky to feel that kind of pain, like to be bedridden for 3 months and, in agony, to feel that sort of pain, 100% you never want to feel like that again.
Yeah.
So it gives me every single excuse to do everything right.
Yeah.
But some people don't know that pain. They might just sit at like a medium level of pain and be okay with that, and they'll just keep going, going, going. They might get to 40 or 50, and then something happens. But because they haven't experienced that pain, it's not enough for them to actually change.
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
think
It's funny because some
so
people like chase, they run away from fear, and some people run towards pleasure. And the people that run away from the fear of something, it's often a more like it's a stronger kind of thing to get you moving. And your fear is like, I never want to go back there again. Like I'm not doing that again. So that like, keeps you focused and on vision, and that's so powerful.
It really is, and it makes everything so like makes every decision so simple.
Yeah.
Like I haven't drunk for 5 years, and the thought of drinking is just off the table because I know how much that causes inflammation in my body, a
Yeah.
reaction of
We don't
bad
drink
food.
either, but and it's just a waste of time, in my opinion. So it's a waste of time, a waste of your life, and we've done it, we've been there, and it's like,
Yeah, my body was like allergic to alcohol, so it was obviously not a thing that I could do. So it was just
we just
Oh,
stop.
I've never met someone who stopped drinking and said they've had a bad experience.
Yeah, same. Exactly.
Ever.
No, I
And
haven't actually. Thinking about it, everybody I know that actually has just quit are all people that are fine with it. I think the only thing that is a bit nerve-wracking is those social times. But once you do it a couple of times, you realize, one, you probably don't want to be in those social places until that late at night anymore because it's really annoying. Or and two, you can just have you can have a sparkling water with a slice of lime in. It's absolutely fine.
And now we get to be those obnoxious people that are like, like, oh yeah, that was caused because they would have drunk, been hungover.
Yeah.
It's all caused from drinking. Come on.
Anyway, we're going to get back on track with this. So, can you share a success story from Juiced Up Groms that illustrates the power of your program in action?
Oh wow, yeah. There's been so many huge breakthroughs and transformations with kids over the course of all like six years. But I think more specifically of the last 18 months, stepping into the NDIS space, we get the opportunity to work with kids with different levels of autism. They might have anxiety and struggle in social environments. Some of them are non-verbal, and there's all kids with all different things going on for them in their lives. But when they come to our program, they actually feel really a part of something, and that encourages them so much to really start taking big leaps and bounds in their own life with their confidence, their resilience, learning different skills, and then really transforming. And I think there's two that stand out to me, just in real recent times. We've had one boy who's been with us for 4 seasons now. And when he first came, he was non-verbal and extremely heightened. Whenever he was around lots of people, he was very on edge and could be quite aggressive just to try and keep himself safe. Anyone who came near me, he would actually meet them with aggression just to try and keep himself safe.
Yeah.
And that was basically how he showed up for 2 whole seasons, which is nearly 20 weeks. And we almost got to the point where we're like, oh, I don't think it's like great if he continues because he is in a heightened state. We're not sure if it's beneficial, but the parents are like, no, I think it is actually helping him because he really enjoys it and wants to be here. So we're like, okay, we'll keep him coming. And then in season 3 and 4, he just had these like gigantic leaps where he started just being fully relaxed, engaging like with all the other kids, playing gently, and actually really focusing on the coach, what they had to say, learning all the skills, and then started speaking. He was starting to like string like the words together, at the start of an obstacle course, going 1, 2, 3, go. And like every time he'd get to our program, he's like, Juiced Up Groms, giving everyone hugs, and he became a completely different person to what he was when he started. And that sort of stuff
unreal.
is amazing. Yeah, and you can see how much joy that brings the parents and the family. Not only the fact that we'd like stuck with him and really gave him, every opportunity to keep showing up and growing, regardless of the challenges. We always try and create a space to encourage the growth and to see it like come to fruition. Some happen very quickly and others take more time, and then this one has been like really amazing to witness. That was story number 1. And then story number 2 was last season we had a young boy join as well, and he's super nervous and anxious about being in environments with lots of kids. And when he first rocked up, he was in the boot of the car hiding under a blanket, like just did not want to come out at all. And his mum had sort of pre-warned me that he was feeling a bit anxious about coming. And I'd try to encourage him with a video message and say, it's going to be great fun. And then when he was in the boot of the car, I'm like, oh man, I'm not sure how this will go. And then anyway, I said, I'll come over and have a chat with him and sort of like poke my head under the blanket. I was like, hey buddy, like Juiced Up Grom's first day. I know it can be scary and a bit intimidating, but we're here to have lots of fun. I'm going to be your best mate for the next 10 weeks. We're going to learn so many new skills, and you're still like very, very resilient to come out. And it took about maybe about 10 minutes of just like gentle coaxing to come out. And I eventually just said, I'll give you a piggyback and we'll run around the oval together to get started. And he was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. So he was all about the piggyback, and he climbed out, jumped on my back, and we took off around the oval and did a couple of laps, and he was smiling from ear to ear. And then basically from that session, he just like built with confidence every single week. And his mum said that he was just like a changed boy, like at home. He started to like participating in swimming lessons that he'd never done before, started doing other activities, making friends at school, and just really came out of his shell because he was feeling so confident within himself about how well he was doing at Juiced Up Groms. And that sort of became his favorite day of the week. And me and him just became best mates. So it was really
Yeah.
cool to see. Mum was just like beyond grateful. Like she was sending me messages every week about how she was feeling to see him, really coming out of his shell and growing as a young fella. So that was really cool to see.
What a success story for
That's
like not only
amazing.
you but the kid
The
and then the
parents.
parents.
Yeah,
Like it
just
just
everything.
it's such a ripple effect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. And they have a lot of doubt about if it's going to work for them or. And she was on the phone to me prior to this season starting saying, oh, look, I really don't know if it's going to work out right. I said, look, I guarantee you he's going to come to the program and he's going to love it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a coach. I've had so much experience. I've heard and seen this all the time. Kids that are nervous and don't want to be a part of it. And then within a couple of weeks, they're just like, this is their best thing. And it's nice to be able to speak with that sort of conviction and confidence to the parents,
Yeah.
to them be like, oh, wow, I wonder what they do differently. And then they get to see it in action that we are, beyond passionate about helping these kids. And the program's actually exciting and engaging where they just like the kids are there, they're present, and all they want to do is just have as much fun as possible. So when they see it firsthand, that they realize that there's lots of power in it. And we've had such great response from families because of that.
That's wicked.
On that note, actually, for listeners that are parents, what is one practical habit or mindset they could model daily to inspire their kids to thrive?
I'd definitely just go with movement. If when kids see you moving, whether that's running, riding a bike, training in a gym at home, doing push-ups, sit-ups, anything, kids just want to do what parents are doing. Like they want it, that they look up to you so much. You are their role models, you're their world. That's all like the one person they want to spend the most time with. And if you're doing something, they're just going to emulate what you do. And I think movement is so key because the more you move as a kid, the easier that becomes when you transition it to an adult. If you have a sedentary lifestyle as a youngster, trying to move and start things as you get older becomes really difficult. So I think encouraging movement as much as possible, but doing it by leading by example, not telling them you should go and run around. It's like follow me. I
Yeah,
think if
that's true.
parents are doing it, the kids are going to do it 100%.
Our little girl's decided to start doing a gym. She's mad on gymnastics and she's doing a gymnastics bar. And the things she can do, I can't even do. I'm like, okay, I need to actually get better. So she's leading by example in our house at the moment.
But she would love to see you trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh
Like
yeah,
just
she does. Yeah.
like
Yeah,
a
I
real
do,
woman.
I do try, but I'm a lot heavier, so trying to pull my weight up is
Yeah.
a lot more than her little weight, but not for her, I guess. It all works out
Imagine,
the
imagine
same.
in 2 years' time, you're like, hey, what's this? And then all of a sudden you're
Yeah,
doing like 3 or 4 pull-ups, and she's like, oh wow, mum, you're getting so strong.
yeah,
So that's
that's the
insane.
plan. That is the
Yeah.
plan in there. It's in there to do it. So
Yeah.
So for the listeners, for the parents that are listening, and especially maybe for the men, how has being part of the Legacy Brotherhood shaped your approach to leadership and success? And tell us a bit about the Legacy Brotherhood for those that don't know.
Yeah, the Legacy Brotherhood's a men's group that I've joined in the past, just over the last 6 months. And it's basically an area for personal development for men. We want to try and change the culture around what men actually are, because from, ages 18 to, 50, there's a really strong culture, especially in Australia, around drinking, being a player with women, not, you know, treating your body very well, just being really reckless, using poor language and not having great standards in life. And we actually have a vision of changing the culture within Australia, men who are having higher standards, like first and foremost focusing on their health. So we want to get the whole group, anyone who's involved, really, really healthy. So that becomes their priority. We want to help them with online business. So they teach you all different education around how to work online. Because a lot of these men that are joining are family men who want more time with their kids, because we find in this day and age a lot of men especially spend a lot of their time away working just to pay for their family to be fed and housed, which is an amazing purpose, but it's also leaving the men feeling very empty and lacking that connection with their family. So we're finding a lot of men who join are actually looking for that. And then lastly, purpose, which I think is an extremely important piece of the puzzle for a man, is to live with purpose. So you're waking up excited every single day to share something that you love. So we really want to encourage men to start thinking outside the box, who they are, what lights them up, and how they can share that with the world to live with purpose. That's the three main pillars. And for me personally, since joining, I think just having a community of like-minded men who are actually wanting to better their health, first and foremost, because I really struggle to find a really good community that's a main focus. And also men who actually want to think outside the box, think bigger picture, think 10 years down the road, how they can create wealth to spend more time with their family. I think that's a really positive movement for men to actually want to engage in. And then, yeah, living with purpose. Ultimately, for me, I feel like I'm living with purpose, but I also want to make greater impact. And I can see what I do with kids is amazing, but I believe real change happens with parents. So if I get an opportunity to work with men and share my knowledge around health and how to stay active and how to work with kids, it might make more of an impact, far and wide if I can tap into, all these dads and men within the legacy brotherhood.
Yeah, I think it's so important because lots of men kind of have in their mind, like they're brought up like they have to do everything on their own and they can't go to people like for advice and they can't, feel vulnerable or anything. But having that support group of men, you have that safe space to kind of be vulnerable, support each other. And I think that that's incredible for your mind as a man, because you do have put a lot of pressure on yourself, and it's good to have those people around you that also have those pressures, so you can just chat about it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And we catch up twice a week on Zoom, and every Monday night, that's our thing. We do a check-in to make sure all the brothers in the community are feeling okay within themselves, and if there is anything they need to share and they need support on, they have that opportunity to be vulnerable and express what's going on in their life, and then have our mentors and other men in the group offer support throughout, whether it's there in that moment or throughout the week or ongoing. There's a community there to get around them, and I find I've never had that in my whole 37 years.
Yeah.
And then to see it and witness it and see how powerful it is for every single man in that community, I think it's incredible, especially for mental health, because yeah, men's mental health is really, up the shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have outlets, we don't have communities. We feel like we have to just bottle everything up and just keep pushing through. That's the mentality. But to be supported and be able to share what's going on in your life with other men who genuinely want to help you on your path is like extremely powerful for your mental health. And I believe that that'll change a lot of lives, just that alone.
Yeah, we see it a lot where there's lots of women's circles and women's groups, but it's not as
No.
prevalent men's groups and men's health, and it's sort of been shoved to one side. So it's great that there's something out there. Is it something that's worldwide, or is it Australia wide, or how does it work?
Our plan is to be global, so it will be worldwide. We've
Mhm.
got, I think, close to 80 members at the moment, all over Australia, and maybe a couple of internationals, but mostly in Australia. But we've got
Okay.
guys.
And then if you wanted as a man to join, how do you do that?
Then you just reach out to anyone in the Brotherhood or someone that
Okay.
you've seen who's sharing the message. It might be someone in your area, it might be closer, and just talk to them about it, and they can show you how to be a part of it.
We can put a link to their website in the comment
Yeah.
section
Okay.
or the
That's good.
description.
Yeah.
What's one misconception people often have about success, and what's the truth you've learned from your journey?
I think success, a misconception would be the more you own, the more successful you are. I don't believe that that's the case. You see so many successful people who have it all end up, topping themselves in the garage at the back because they've got no fulfillment, they've got no joy, or they may not have their purpose. They've just done everything, and all the stuff they've consumed is filling a void for something that's missing inside their heart. So I believe that the misconception is the more you own, the more successful you are. I disagree. I think the happier you are and the more you know who you are, the more successful you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I'm exploring with my book is the notion of wealth not being the only key to happiness. So,
Mm.
there's much more, not to success, not to happiness. There's much more to it because you could be the wealthiest person on the planet and have no family and not be fulfilled, eh, not finding your purpose, not exactly like you said. So, yeah, it's very important that there's a balance, I think, for success.
Yeah, and I think you need joy like within your life, whether that comes from what you do or you actually seek out your passions and your hobbies to actually fulfill the joy. You need great connections and relationships, so someone close in your life that you can actually open up to and have that deep connection with. Good friends, good connection to nature, and I think a real good connection with yourself, understanding what you're feeling and actually being okay with feeling it all, so you can just keep growing and becoming who you need to be for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I agree. And also health, good health,
Good,
is
good health is number one,
number
Yeah.
always.
one. Exactly.
Yeah, if you have
Number
a healthy machine to get around in, then it's a lot easier for your mind to work productively, isn't it? Because if you wake up in the morning and the first thing is you get out of bed and you're like, oh my God, this thing doesn't work very well, and it's not a good start for your mind.
Not a great start at all. And I think, yeah, it's crazy how much a huge majority of the population is living like that.
Oh,
And that,
we see
and
it
it's,
all the time. We
Yeah.
talked about that last night, like what people consume and stuff, seeing people drink like, Coke or eating certain foods and stuff, and you just think like, you can already see that you're unhealthy and you're still doing that. Like, come on, man. Like take
Eat
yeah,
some
some
spinach.
like it's yours, it's your body. Like it's you gotta sort this out. You may have another 40 years of this. So come on.
yeah. And the easiest way to like visualize your body is like your car. You look after your car, you put good fuel in it, you clean it, you service it, you make sure it's always running, the wheels have got good tread on them. People will put all that effort into having their car running beautifully, but then treat their body like crap.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're never ever going to go up to your car and pour 3 cans of Coke in it and, and then 3 Big Macs and then hope it runs well. Like,
That's so
it just
true.
blows my mind that the effort people put into certain things, but then neglect their health.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've only got to get in and out of your car every once in a while. You're bloody stuck in this thing. So
Like, hey, you've got your skin suit for life, so you may as well treat it with some care.
That's true.
looking ahead, where do you see Juiced Up Groms in 5 years? What kind of impact are you hoping to leave on the next generation?
Yeah, I think Cam and I, since the start, have always wanted to make, a huge impact, for millions of people, ideally over the world. And we've, been navigating our way through this journey over the past 6 years, and more recently been focusing on our NDIS programs, which has been amazing and having really great impact on, we've had just over 130 kids come through the program in the last 18 months. So it's smaller numbers to what we're sort of used to when it comes to impact, because we used to do shows for like 600 kids at a time and run programs where we've, done tours where we've presented for thousands of kids over a week. So that was like a really like big impact with lots of kids, whereas this is more personal and really focused on what their needs are to get really, I think, long-lasting transformations, which I feel is very impactful.
Yeah,
But over the next 5 years, Cam and I would love to see this grow over Australia, and we'd love to sell and share what we have as a vehicle, as a package, all our systems, all our processes, everything that we've created, which has become extremely valuable to other people who are passionate like us, who would love to do that in different areas of Australia.
yeah,
So the potential for that is huge, because I believe there are lots of people that share the same passion and would love to make an impact and work with kids and families. So to
Yeah.
see that, in 5 years' time start popping up, say, anywhere from 20 to 30 locations over Australia, that would be incredible, because that's another, few hundred, to 1,000 kids impacted. And
Yeah,
that just,
how amazing is that? And the children whose lives you're impacting are going to potentially want to do that in their future, you know, because you are their role models. So as they grow, they're going to be the next leaders, potentially the next generation of people that are going to want to inspire other young people who are in their situation to break through their stories, which is, you know, that's how it's going to work. You can see it. It's just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny you say that because we already have a little program running that once you complete 4 seasons with us, your next season, which is your 5th season, you become a junior coach. And
Oh,
we
wow.
actually start paying you $5 a session to show up and you're a junior coach. And that gives them incentive to step up as a leader and gives them lots of
Amazing.
confidence to be, yeah, a junior coach. And we've already got some kids that they're only like 10 years old, but we're like, do you want to be a juiced up Broms coach? And they're just like, yeah, 100%. So they want to be a
That's
part
so
of it.
good.
And like you said, yeah, just that flow on effect from helping them, and then they want to help others. It's great to see.
Yeah, and it helps them grow, you know, as it empowers them. So,
Yeah.
you know, as they get through their 4 seasons, they've grown, they've, you know, they're shaking off, they can then see, oh, that person's where I was. I can help that person, you know. So that empowers them to be able to be a leader and be, you know, learn more skills, more amazing skills. So it's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Chris, if you could leave our listeners with one golden piece of advice for taking their own giant leap towards success, what would it be?
I think the greatest thing you can do is believe in yourself 100%. It doesn't matter what anyone says or anyone's opinions. Your belief in yourself is the most important thing because it's your vision, it's your path, it's your journey to embark on. And some other people won't understand what you're doing, but that's okay because that's none of your business. Your focus is you. And if you have 100% belief, you can go all in and you'll achieve anything that you set your heart to. So go all in on yourself 100%.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing your vision. It's so powerful and has so much purpose, and that you get to, you know, go to work and change lives like from the very, you know, early beginnings of life and what that'll lead from. Like it's like if there was a mission from God, if you're a God person, like I swear that's a pretty good, you know, God's mission.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we've got one last question for you. Okay.
Yeah,
So, Chris Windsor, are you successful?
100%. I I really struggle to wipe the smile off my face every single day, and I think that's success in my eyes. You know, I am chasing these things in life that I want to achieve, but I believe now where I'm at, I'm 100% successful because I've been in a place where I wasn't happy and down in the dumps and, you know, lack self-worth and all those things and went through darkness, but then to come out the other side and feel like I do every day, like I'm sitting here and I can feel my entire being just like vibrating. So I'm frothing every single day, and I think that is absolute success.
I love that so much. It's yeah, incredible. And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. I have loved your story and everything that you've said. So thank you so much for sharing that wisdom with us. And we shall see you again soon.
Yeah, let's get juiced up.
Yeah.
Every day. Thanks, Casey. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Legends.